So I just got this box in the mail. It's a brand new pedal board from Holeyboards. We're gonna take a look at it right after this. Hey everybody, I'm Tony from Addicted to Gear. Thank you for joining me today. As you probably already know, I've gone through about 4 or maybe 5 now, I lost track, different types of pedal boards that I've reviewed and put together on my channel. Now, some of you are probably going to ask me, Tony, how many pedal boards do you actually need? Aren't they all the same? I'm glad you asked that because in fact, they are not all the same. They are very individually designed. And for me, a pedal board is almost like a pair of shoes. It depends on how you intend to use it. And that will determine what kind of pedal board you should actually buy. And they're not all the same. Although they do look the same in many cases, they don't always perform in the same way. All right, so before we get down and dirty and put this thing together, I'm gonna just point out one thing. When you're looking for pedal boards, often where the men are separated from the boys is where you're dealing with pedal boards that can accommodate pedals of this size. Now, normally when you're dealing with a pedal board, a lot of pedal boards can handle smaller pedals, no problem. But when it comes to wah pedals of this size, expression pedals, volume pedals, etc., often they just don't have the flexibility that you need to accommodate pedals of this size as well as smaller pedals. So this is something that you might want to keep in mind when you're shopping for one of these pedal boards. So without further ado, let's look at what's in the box here and start putting this baby together. So we're going to be using our floor cam for this demo. As you can see, I vacuumed my throw rug here just for you guys, so don't say I don't care. Now, we're gonna put together the Holeyboard, and you're gonna need a few things, obviously, to do this. And they all come in the package when you open them. So we have the Holeyboard instructions, and there's first paragraph says, watch the setup video. Now we're gonna do this without watching the setup video just because my knees are gonna thank me for it. I wanna try to do this quickly. And at my age, every minute counts when you're in this position. So let's take the accessories that we will need. They all come in these nice little bags. So you have all the rubber feet, you have the screws, and the bolts that come standard to connect all these to the Holeyboard. You also have a bag full of the essential tie wraps that the Holeyboard uses to actually keep everything in place, as well as some little stickers that you can put on the Holeyboard at the end to embellish it all. We also have this very critical component, which is basically a piece that attaches the extension piece, or I don't know what you want to call it, but the little extension module that goes on the side of it to accommodate your wah or a larger pedal like a volume pedal. So this is basically a metal bridge between this section and that section. So very important not to lose that. And of course we have the all-important section that will be used for installing your larger pedals. So this is one of the big advantages with the Holeyboard, is that you do have the ability to work with the modules that they give you. It's a pretty modular system. So as you can see here, we have the Holeyboard, which is basically a bent metal, sheet of thick bent metal that is powder coated. And underneath that, we have the second part of it, which in this case is a different color, but I'm sure you probably can get black or silver or whatever you like. But in this case, I have 2 different colors just to show you the variations that are available. So you'll see that, you have a nice angle here to attach your pedals on the upper section. You have a nice flat section here that's wide enough to accommodate thicker or wider pedals, and I'll show you that after we put this together. And of course, then we have the wah section or the volume pedal plate that you can put on either side. So you can put on the right side or on the left side, depending on how you like to use your pedal in the pedal chain. And I have to think about that for a moment and see where I want to put my wah, if I want to put it before or after my effects. So usually I put it after the effects, but we'll see. I haven't decided yet. So without further ado, let's get cracking on this project, because my knees are already starting to get numb. Now you will definitely need to have either a screwdriver or a little, little power tool to make things quicker. You want to start off by taking all of the feet that you need, and you'll notice that the feet come in two different heights, right? But there's a taller one and there's a shorter one, and that is to basically compensate for the thickness of the metal depending on where the feet need to go. If they're going to go on the outer edge, then you'll use the longer ones. If they're going to be in the middle or on the bottom side of the extension part, you're going to use the shorter ones. And of course, to get these things to work, you have to actually put in the little bolt in the middle of this rubber foot so that the screw will actually be able to hold everything on. So let's start off by taking the taller ones here, and I'm going to start off by just taking this unit first, this part here, and just basically attaching them. And it's pretty straightforward. You just have to pass the little bolt through like this and go ahead and just tighten them in. You don't want to over tighten anything, but once it's tightened in, you're basically ready to go. It's not more complicated than that. And then you want to rinse and repeat on the other side. Now you'll know where to put the screws, because the actual hole where the screws go are countersunk. I'll show you that in a minute here. So the screws, if you see here, are countersunk. So everything's nice and flush, nothing sticks out, nothing to snag, okay? So now that we have these two units in, we're gonna also put some on this section. Now the next big decision you have to make here is basically how wide you want your unit to be. In my case, I think I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes over like this, because I measured it up. And basically this is the size that fits in the gig bag that I have. I didn't get a gig bag with this, so you have to keep that in mind if you're planning on transporting it. So I'm gonna just align it here. Use the shorter of the two of the rubber feet, because otherwise if you use a taller one and a taller one in the middle, it's just gonna rock, and not in a good way. All right, so that goes there, and the final one will go right here in the center of the unit. Put my finger here so it doesn't fall out, hopefully, like that. And that's about it. It's not more complicated than that to put in the feet. Okay, so we're almost there, guys. Now we have to put two more on this side here, and those are also going to be the shorter ones, because you're a step lower because of the way the two pieces of folded metal basically match up with one another. And it really, really helps to have like a power tool. Otherwise, this would take a lot longer. Okay, so now, oh yeah, there we go. Basically, that's it. So as you can see right now, if I can get the entire thing in the shot, let's put it here. So it's pretty sturdy, right? There's nothing moving, it doesn't rock or anything like that. So that's the first part of the assembly. Pretty straightforward if you ask me. Now the second part of the assembly is to decide where we're gonna put this guy. So I decided I'm gonna put it on this side over here. So for this, you will need this little extension piece, which is the bridge piece, I guess. All right. So basically, you have two countersunk holes here, two countersunk holes there. Basically, it goes like that, but on the underside of the thing. All right. So let's flip this thing over and try and get this thing installed. Now for this, you will need a set of these smaller screws and washers. And these are countersunk as well. And they're basically lock washers, right? So pretty straightforward. Sorry guys, I know it's a little bit hard to see, but I'll take some shots of everything afterwards. Yeah, it's not easy to do this when you're not in control of the camera, so to speak. It's on the tripod here. But suffice it to say that you can just put in the screw here, hold the piece, and then just put in the lock nut on the underside, like so. Use your power tool to tighten it up. And that's basically it. And now, let's just put that over here. This piece will go in like so. So basically this one screw will go here, the other screw will go there, and the bolts go underneath. So let me do that very quickly. This is the boring part for you guys because you can't really see what I'm doing. But trust me, it's exciting on this side. It might not be exciting on your side, but it is on my side here. It's almost like doing some mechanical work, All right, so here, this is the bottom view of it. So you can see the bolts are in there. I just have to tighten up these last two. So look, it's almost done. So now you have the last section to do is just to choose what pedals you want to put on this board where, and then you can just attach them with these really nifty tie wraps. And the reason why the Holeyboard is so flexible is because you can use any one of these holes to basically configure your board up. So I'm going to figure out what kind of pedals I want to put on here and decide where I want to put them. So even if it's a wider pedal, there's no issues. And if you want to put a wah, then you can put one right there, right there. So you can easily accommodate, I'd say 10 pedals very easily, depending on the size. Obviously, if you're putting the smaller pedals, you can put a way more than 10. But you can have a really nice size pedal board here. When I say 10, I mean when it's extended this much. The beauty of this system is that you could extend it even further if you want, so that you'd be able to accommodate way more. Now, the other cool thing is that they have these wider gaps here at the bottom to pass your power supply cables. And the other thing I want to show you very quickly here is that the back side of it here accommodates some really nice ports, so you can actually plug in power if you have your power bar mounted, your power supply mounted underneath. Very nice. So you'll be able to pass your cables here. The only thing I complain about a little bit on this one is they should have actually put in another series of holes for an extra little screw right here to hold everything in place, because when you lift it up, you can see that it does shift a little bit on you. So what I'm probably going to do to keep things in place here is just probably put a little tie wrap right over here in one of these holes, just to keep everything aligned properly. But a little countersunk hole somewhere in here would have been nice to keep things a little bit more solid. But that's a minor issue with this board. Overall, I think it's pretty flexible. So guys, I hope I did a good job of showing you just how easy and quickly a Holeyboard can be put together. And what I really like about this board is how sturdy it is made overall. I mean, the metal here is probably 3 or 4 inches thick, powder coated very nicely so it won't scratch very easily, and it's super well thought out. I mean, it's, people would think, well, just take something and drill a bunch of holes in it. But in actual fact, to be modular the way it is, you have to put some serious thought into it. And things like, the angle of the upper portion here, super important. The way the feet are, you know, they have different heights to the feet so the thing doesn't rock. You know, the fact that you can add this additional section here to accommodate your expression pedal, volume pedal, or wah. And even little things, well, not little things, they're actually major things. I mean, the openings in the back that accommodate the plugs. So if you have a, you know, a plug with a bigger, thicker section at the end of it, it'll fit in there. That's super important. All the way down to the little feet that stop the unit from scratching up your floors. I mean, that's super important as well. And the modularity aspect of it, in the sense that you can actually extend it. You can double the size. You can basically use this alone with the side piece for your wah pedal, or you can extend it with this extension unit here and basically make it double the size. You can take this off if you don't need it. You can put it on the other side. There's a host of things that you can do. It's almost like one of those old Meccano sets that I had and played with as a kid. Now, truth be told, I'm not a big fan of the zip ties. That being said, they work. So I can't say anything negative about the zip ties. I mean, they're cheap. You can tie them securely to the board and keep your pedals securely anchored to the board. So, I mean, overall, they do what they've been designed for. It's an extremely well-designed, well-thought-out pedal board that I think most of you out there will be able to afford. Not very expensive, and the beauty of it is it's as flexible as you need it to be. So you never run out of configuration ideas. You know, the only thing that you may not want is a two-tiered system, and that's kind of inherently designed into the way this system works. But I know that they have other units out there that you can actually buy from them that have different variations in terms of their design and configuration. So you can check that out. So guys, that's it for today. I hope I answered most of your questions about the Holeyboard. If you have other questions that I did not cover in this video, please don't hesitate to reach out to me in the comments. I answer all of my comments. You guys already know that. Now, if you like this video and you like the content that we're presenting here on Addicted to Gear, please consider subscribing, because we have other great videos coming your way. Other effects pedals, guitars, accessories like this, etc., are coming your way, as well as a very special giveaway that I'm going to be having very shortly. And as usual, I want to remind people that I usually have my live events happening on Sundays, so stay tuned for that as well, where we do a one-on-one and I get to answer all of your questions live right here on Addicted to Gear. So if you don't subscribe, you won't be notified. So hit the little subscribe button, hit the little notification bell, and you'll be up to speed with everything that's happening on this channel. So that's it for now, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in once again. I'm Tony, and from Addicted to Gear, stay tuned, keep rocking, more great stuff coming your way.